Welcome to a new episode of Depreciation Nation, and we are once again filming with our friends at Luxury Motor Cars out of Cincinnati, Ohio. But before we get into the subject of today's video, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button at the bottom of your screen so that you don't miss some of the most eclectic content available on YouTube. Now, when our friends invited us to come out and try this M4 Competition here to my left, I couldn't think of a better video that we could do than to perhaps do a comparison with my ZHP here on my right. Now, if you've been following the channel, you know that ZHP has been a project for some time, and we are beginning to near completion. But as it stands, if you haven't seen it before, this is a 2005 BMW 330 with the performance package, internally known as the ZHP model. Now, prices on these have escalated over the last 2 or 3 years, being a fan favorite among American enthusiasts. And if you've seen previous videos with this car, you will know that I was one of those fans, and I'm an American enthusiast. So when I was able to get my hands on this, I jumped at the opportunity to own one. Now, on my left, you are going to see a 2022 BMW M4 Competition featuring the 503 horsepower turbo 6-cylinder and a number of other go fast goodies. Now, when this car came out a few months ago, I guess it's been longer than a few months, the styling of the front end fascia has been very controversial. And it's been so controversial that aftermarket suppliers have developed a whole niche market, basically supplying you with a front end bumper that doesn't look like that. Now, as BMWs have gotten newer and they've gotten faster and they've gotten more electronic, it's somewhat debatable as to whether they are still the ultimate driving machine. Now, this is BMW's current iteration of the ultimate driving machine, and this is what many consider to be the peak of BMW's ultimate driving machine on my right. Now, I know that we are worlds apart. This car has 2,700 miles on it. This car has just over 150,000 miles on it. 503 horsepower versus 235 horsepower. Red lines are both the same at about 7,000 RPMs. And we are going to see if the new car speaks to the soul in the same way that the old car did. So that's the intro. We're going to do what we love to do, which is take these for a spin. We're going to tell you how they feel. We're going to make a few comparisons, and then we'll give you an overall synopsis. So let's get going. So the thing about a classic BMW is that they just feel special. Now, back in the 90s, BMW started using the slogan, the ultimate driving machine. And the reason that slogan was accurate was because of cars like this. Now, the E30 kind of set the benchmark for an entry-level sports sedan, followed by the E36, which improved it with comfort and style and luxury. But my favorite of the bunch is this car right here, which is the E46. Now, E46 ran from 99 to 05, and some late model E46 M3s ran into 06. And I like the E46 because the styling has aged really, really well. The powertrain has proven to be pretty robust throughout the years. And the interior is a blend of both modern and classic. We've got nice, thickly bolstered sports seats. We've got thigh bolsters. We've got leather throughout the interior. We've got a dashboard that still looks pretty modern. Now, this car was fitted with navigation from the factory, so while dated, it is kind of modern. And the standard E46 330 was fitted with a 3-liter inline 6-cylinder, making 225 horsepower. This car, being the performance package, has different cams and a little bit of a different tune on it, making 235 horsepower. And it is a strong 235 horsepower. Now, I had an E36 M3 for several years. Of course, that car came from the factory with 240 horsepower. And I will say that this car feels much, much stronger as it pulls all the way to its 7,000 RPM red line. Now, I really, really like classic BMWs, and the styling features on the new 4 Series have been somewhat debatable, right down to the point that people have switched brands because of that front end styling. And the thing about modern BMWs is that as they have gotten faster, they have gotten further away from this great analog feel we have in this car to a number of electrical assists that make the car very, 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 very fast, but maybe remove some of the enjoyment from it. And so while this isn't necessarily a fair comparison between a 20-year-old car and a current car, kind of a back-to-back comparison to show how BMW has improved, or perhaps how BMW has strayed from the mark. Now that I have told you all how much I love this car, and if you follow the channel, you know how much I love this car. There are a number of videos that have been done with this particular car. I'm kind of curious to drive the M4 Competition. Is it really going to feel like it has 504 horsepower, or am I going to have a muted experience where it is so electronically assisted it does not feel fast? So, I guess we'll see. So the thing about modern BMWs is that BMWs used to kind of be laser focused, and I remember that when the E46 M3 came out, they had complaints because the rear differential was too noisy, and it just was a very laser focused car. And so now we are in a modern BMW, which has gone to great lengths to placate the masses. And so what we have is, we have a car that is luxurious. The seats are fantastic. Instrumentation is electronic like everything else. But maybe a little too muted and a little too quiet. We are relatively isolated from the exterior surroundings. My S3 rides a little harsher than this. And looking around, I can tell that I'm in something special, but BMW has gone to great lengths to build a supercar for everybody. Ride is very compliant. All of the materials are soft touch. Visibility is good. It rides well. Road noise is at a minimum. Step on the brakes are a bit of a surprise. This car is currently listed for right at $100,000, I think, which ironically in the world of depreciation is still about $10,000 off sticker, and we've got 2,700 miles on the car. Is the styling for everybody? Not really. It's quiet. It's very quiet. It's quieter than the 330 that we are making the comparison with. As we come up and we slow down, the transmission blips nicely, the throttle blips nicely. And we have 500 horsepower under our right foot. And Lord, does it move. Now, what BMW has attempted to do here is build the supercar that is for everybody. We've got usable back seats. We've got mountains of horsepower. 0 to 60 on this, I think, is quoted just over 3 seconds. I know that Car and Driver has managed to get the competition model a hair under the 3-second mark. I probably don't possess the skill set to make that happen. but we have an electronic gauge cluster with a map in the center of it. We've got a nice digital display in the dash. These seats are just fantastic, honestly. And we've got a car that could literally be everything to everybody. And so in this car, BMW has retained a bit of the character that has made BMW in building the car that you can take to the track and then take to the grocery store. Take on a road trip. Personally, I'm not a fan of the styling, but I'm a fan of the styling with the aftermarket front bumpers. Interior feels great. It was funny because before we performed this car, I said that I wasn't very happy with new BMWs, and then I said that, having said that out loud, I really hope that this car changes my mind. And to be quite honest, this car is absolutely amazing. And so that is the M4 Competition versus the E46. Maybe it's not a fair comparison, maybe it's not a fair match. The E46 still stands the test of time. It is built out of materials that held up very well. My concern with the M4 was that perhaps it had gotten a little soft around the edges. They say never meet your heroes, and my concern was that I was going to be disappointed. I am here to say I was not disappointed in any way, shape, or form. I consider the E46 M3 as perhaps the benchmark of M cars, but this M4 Competition is every bit the M car that the E46 M3 is, and maybe a little more. We want to thank our friends at Luxury Motor Cars out of Cincinnati, Ohio. We continue to tell you how exciting their inventory is. Link is in the description below. Right now we are surrounded by a Bentley Bentayga, a couple of G-Wagons. There is a Lamborghini Urus to my right here, and then of course that beautiful M4 Competition behind me. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you enjoy eclectic automotive content, and we'll talk to you soon.